Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of Cageside Speaks. I'm 14 Fitzpatrick, once again filling in as a guest moderator for this show. And we're going to talk about, what we normally do is talk about wrestling and various different things about wrestling. Today we're going to be talking about WWE specifically, the WWE Fastlane show. And a lot of people seem to have a very poor reaction to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we brought together a bunch of Cagesiders to talk about the show. And starting things off, making his second appearance is Connor.
Yeah, I was on an NXT podcast last time, and now I'm making my main roster debut. Hello, everybody. It's C. McBear. I lurk around the NXT and Raw live threads, and I'm all over the pay-per-view live threads whenever they happen. You probably see me over there just being a loudmouth. So.
And also predicting that Brigade's precious Finn Balor was going to lose horribly.
Yeah. Member of the Brigade Club now, though. We mark who we want when we want.
Oh, you are a member of the Brigade Club now. I need to actually update my storylines.
Yes.
Okay.
Also making his second appearance is Mr. Kevin Green. Hello, Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin?
Buddy. We lost Kevin.
Lost Kevin.
We've lost Kevin.
To the void of the podcast.
He's frozen.
Okay, so anyway, Kevin is currently frozen in the void of time. Now
Hey,
let's
what's going
talk
on
about
here?
Hey, there's Kevin.
Hey, there's Kevin.
Hey, I'm back.
You're debuting. Say something.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I'm back? Okay. It's my third appearance. The last one I was on was the Survivor Series, and everybody that's on the Survivor Series is now injured pretty much. So here we are now, talking about Fastlane.
Yep, life in the fast lane.
Let's go.
Yep. And we have two new debuts for the show. First up, hailing from Portsmouth, England, is Martin.
Oh, hello, that's me. Cool. Yeah, it's Plymouth, mate, not Portsmouth, but they're pretty much the same, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay. I need to take my lessons in English geography again.
Oh, that's cool. I don't even know where Portsmouth is, so it's alright.
You had lessons in English geography?
I've had to study because I was actually homeschooled.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, awesome. No homework.
It's not what homeschooling is. It's
Or just all of the work is homework.
Yeah. And anyway, making his first appearance as well is Roy Lantham. Say hi, Roy.
It's Latham.
Latham?
Latham, yeah.
I always thought it sounded like lantern.
It's okay. Everyone gets it wrong.
Anyway, let's start things off by talking about another thing that happened before Fastlane. The month of February got off to kind of a rocky start as we found out what pretty much everyone knew was going on with Daniel Bryan. He had to retire from professional wrestling due to repeated concussions that he suffered last year. And I wanted to ask, what were your memories of Daniel Bryan, the wrestler? And I'll start off with Connor.
Sure. Yeah, my first pay-per-view, I actually haven't been around wrestling for too long. I became a super fan very quickly because, I don't know, I just kind of like the pageantry of it. But the wrestler who got me hooked on wrestling was Daniel Bryan. And I got to say that because I watched Fastlane. Last year's Fastlane was actually my first pay-per-view. I know, really bad pay-per-view to come in on. But, it was that and WrestleMania last year that kind of got me hooked, and I went back and rewatched a bunch of stuff. So I knew about, I went back and before WrestleMania I rewatched, all the WrestleMania 30 build-up, so I knew about that whole storyline of Daniel Bryan being pushed down and kind of coming back up to the top. I thought that was fantastic. But really, seeing him in the main event of Fastlane and how tenacious he was and how much of a fighter he was, I thought it was a really good match, surprisingly underrated, and I thought he really delivered a fantastic match, and it's also why I haven't really been anti-Roman Reigns that much because I thought that match was fine for him. So I guess
that was one with
biased.
Roman Reigns, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're just biased, I guess, based on when you come in. But anyway, Bryan himself, so I didn't get to see him wrestle that much kind of in storyline, in sequence where you're wondering, what's he going to do next, because he went to WrestleMania, won the Intercontinental Championship, and promptly, after one, not even defending the title one time, had to drop it and went out injured. So it was one of those where I've seen most of Daniel Bryan in terms of watching his old matches on the network, things like that. He's just incredibly fun to watch because he sells so well, and he's just so tenacious to watch, and he looks like he's having fun. He's really into the match. Like, there are often wrestlers you can tell that are just, they're doing their moves, they're doing the moves they always do, the spots they always do, and it's just the same thing, with maybe a little variation. You could always tell that he put himself his whole self into every match that he tried for, and it was inspirational in that sense. And I think, even though he kind of had a weird face and he wasn't, the prototypical, big, muscly, hero guy that Vince McMahon seems to love, I think he was really inspirational, kind of in the same way Dean Ambrose is now, in that he wasn't a guy who they wanted to push, and the fans loved him because he really threw his heart and soul into every match. So, I don't know, that's what I really loved about him, and that's why I was super bummed, because I wanted to see him do a lot more wrestling, like live in storyline, than I got when he retired. I wanted to see more, and it's just so sad that I can't now. I hope they find something for him to do, though. Like, I don't know, I'd love to hear him announce some, maybe, or come back as a manager. I don't know, find him something to do.
Okay, Kevin, so what are your thoughts?
I came in on, I got put on to Daniel Bryan just as a WWE guy when he just came in. I didn't know about his background. So, I saw him come and get the U.S. title. I seen him, start the whole yes thing. I really became a fan of him when he won the Money in the Bank, and he said he was going to cash it in next year. And then that whole thing with Mark Henry happened, so he had to cash it on the Big Show. And it goes back to what Big Show was saying on that Stone Cold podcast about helping guys get to the next level. And that little feud that he had with the Big Show was pretty good. Like, how he kept retaining the title, and he was a really good bad guy. And just what happened to him at WrestleMania with the 18 seconds, it really sucked. And then the very next night on Raw, he was over. And then it was just from there to him winning at SummerSlam, one of John Cena's coming out matches that other than the Money in the Bank with Punk. Then he started just after getting the rub from Daniel Bryan, like, he became a real wrestler, like, for that year, putting on classics with Kevin Owens and all these other guys. But back to Daniel, he's a special talent. Like they said before, none of his matches are the same. Like, he has the same spots, but it's not 5 moves of doom. Like, you don't know when the spot is going to come in, and he puts his all into all the matches. And I've never seen a bad Daniel Bryan match. And he comes from great lineage. Shawn Michaels and the great Steven Regal. So he's a good guy, man. It sucks to see him go, but he's had a complete career. He's done everything there is to do, and he could hang his hat on that. And I'm happy that he at least got to do that. I would have loved to have seen him wrestle some of these new guys or get to rub them again as they're on a bigger stage. But it is what it is. It sucks to see him go.
Yeah.
Okay, Martin, do you have any thoughts on Daniel Bryan?
I first saw him when they were doing the crappy version of NXT originally, when he was with The Miz.
Right.
And I remember Twitter and probably Cageside at that point as well was just going mental about how he was being shown to be really shit and he should be really good and stuff.
Yeah, he was a nerd. He was a nerd.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Michael Cole used to bury him.
I remember sort of thinking he's probably obviously better than what he's being shown to be.
Right.
And I think that's kind of ironic as well that he was made to look really shit then, and then WWE wanted him to look really shit in the main show, and then he proved everybody wrong both times. So he's fantastic. I love him.
Yep.
Okay, Roy?
I just want to say that I think that was the most exciting time having Daniel Bryan around. since I've been watching in 2008.
Hmm.
You're never gonna get anything like that again, I don't think. Just the
Okay.
most exciting wrestler in the ring, and everyone was in on his story. And even if you go to a restaurant and you're watching him, everyone's chanting yes at the restaurant. Everyone's chanting yes that's watching the show. My daughter was dancing in the middle of the restaurant when he won. And if I keep going, you know, all the tears are gonna start flowing. I'm gonna miss the little guy.
I'm gonna miss him too. I
One of a
started.
kind talent.
Yep, he was a one-in-a-kind talent. You know, I
We will
started
never see
watching
his
him.
like again.
Yeah. Well, we could. I mean, there's a lot of other smaller guys that are kind of like him. You got guys like Zack Sabre Jr. who have his
Yeah.
technical acclimate and stuff like that.
But we
Thing
won't
is,
see Daniel Bryan again.
Yeah. These injuries are going to stop that kind of wrestling.
Yeah,
That's
I have that fear too.
And I think Daniel Bryan is actually kind of a cautionary tale for that kind of wrestling, the kind of wrestling he did, which was real spot heavy and really death defying at points. I mean, there are certain guys on the roster that do that now that kind of do scare me when they do it. Kalisto occasionally, Neville with that red arrow, one slip on that top rope, and Neville's red arrow is going to cause him major head trauma. And I mean, I mean, there are just so many guys who it can go wrong for. So yeah, the mat-based guys, the guys who their offense is more technical and everything, which Daniel had, but he also went for the big spots. I think is going to be a bigger deal. I think in the future.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Can I make a comment on that real fast? I remember when he did the speech. I think part of the problem was he didn't really take to wrestling as quickly. I think he mentioned that before, and he got like a lot of concussions early on in the training. So, you know, I think that also could people should take that into consideration. I mean, because I'd love to see the style not die off, but in the training, you know, I have to make sure the training is up to par. So to avoid that, you know, so I think he took a lot of risk early on, and you know he's paying for them now. But you know, I
never like those dives to the outside where they, you know, it always
they don't sell it anyway, so why do it?
It always looks fantastic, you know, in terms of like, oh, they're just throwing their body outside the ring, but it always looks so fake when the guy catches him that I'm like, you know, it just takes one time that the guy misses him and you got a concussion. So
it happened to the Undertaker. I remember one time.
I mean, if you want to like cut down on concussions, how about you just ban that move? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, you know, just it's kind of dumb anyway, you know, because
every fucker does it, don't they? So.
You know, and it's also kind of dumb that the guy doesn't just move out of the way. I mean, if you're really trying to sell it as, oh, this is kind of like reality. Why didn't the guy just move? He has like 5 seconds once he starts seeing the guy run back and forth in the ring.
Yeah, just stick to the baseball slide, man.
Yeah, I'd take that.
I mean, but this is wrestling. You've got Undertakers, Pixies, and all sorts of other weird stuff going on. So that reality doesn't exactly fly, even though that they're trying to do this reality era stuff.
I mean, yes. I mean, to a certain degree, you know, you have to hold on to your suspension of disbelief. I mean, wrestling isn't real. You know, I'm reminded of that all the time. But you know, it's also to the point at which we're kind of living in the reality era, and I know that term is overused. But to the point at which we're now living in, we kind of know wrestling isn't real. And sorry for anybody who's listening to this on
still real to me.
It's still real to me, man.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about all the it's still real to me, damn it, people. But it's obviously a performance, and just like any other performance,
just like anything else on
safety
TV,
of your performers in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I consider it like community theater, and when I started watching, actually finding out that it was fake was the reason I started watching wrestling in the first place. And I was like, oh, this is like, you know, some kind of community theater that I see at the local theater. Okay, this is cool. And my first introduction to Daniel Bryan was in 2011 on a random SmackDown when he decided to try and cash in on Mark Henry. And I'd see this character, and he's like, at first you think he's this pure babyface character, but then you just find out how devious and destructive this deranged lawn gnome is. His heel run is one of my favorite heel runs, besides the CM Dangerfield run that CM Punk went on. You know, those two runs really made wrestling for me as a fan. And you know, I'm going to miss him, but I'm glad that he took his health into consideration beforehand, because I've been basically screaming from the rooftops for the last 2 years that this guy should either take a sabbatical or retire. Because I understand the risk of concussions and head trauma. There's a fantastic documentary that was made by Frontline for PBS called A League in Denial, the NFL Concussion Crisis. It is a fantastic documentary
I'll check it out.
to watch, because if you want to find out more about concussions, that is a documentary that holds no punches. It tells you exactly what the dangers of concussions are, and how wrestling is one of the industries that needs to take a serious consideration as to how dangerous this is.
Yeah. Well, and I've been concussed before, actually. I've gotten a concussion before. I was skiing and fell and hit my head and was concussed and kind of not all there for a good number of hours. But it was mild compared to, I'm sure, what some of these guys go through. And I mean, it was really bad. And just getting multiple of those, I can't even imagine, you know, the kind of damage that would do.
Well, when you consider, like, in the NFL, they're having all of those concussions and they're wearing helmets, you know, so...
Yeah, and I was wearing a helmet when I was skiing, and again, you can get concussed while wearing a helmet. You can.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So, it's all about the brain moving. Yeah.
What
was the name of that documentary again?
League of Denial, the NFL Concussion Crisis. It's distributed by Frontline PBS. It's a fantastic documentary, and I absolutely recommend it. Anybody who's a wrestling fan, watch that documentary, because you need to be informed about whatever this concussion crisis is going to come out, because the next 5 to 10 years are going to really decide the fate of professional wrestling and what exactly are going to be put in sort of restrictions or laws or passed or something like that. You know.
I had professional football and college football too, and I'm a big fan of college football as well. Go Bears! But you know, I think that college football and professional football are also in danger of going away due to concussions. So
there's a film soon, isn't there, with concussions in America?
Yeah, no, I think it's already out. The Will Smith movie.
Yeah, that's another film that I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that
it was good.
Yeah. So now we'll focus on a different subject matter, and this one is one that I think we've all been kind of dreading talking about. The main event of WrestleMania is the heroic shovel Triple H versus the evil, diabolical Roman Reigns. Or at least
that's about how it's working out for me too. I think H is the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be controversial here and say H is the face. The crowd has spoken.
Yeah.
I mean, Roman did terrorize his 50-foot-tall kaiju demon wife and beat up his father-in-law, you know, who's Satan, but, you know, at the same time, you kind of don't do those things and present yourself as a face. Unless you're like Steve Austin, in that case, you do it all the time, you know, delivering stunners to everybody.
If he was Steve Austin, that would be so much better right now.
Yeah, Silent Badass has
just
been wanting him to book Reigns forever. I mean, that should be his character. And it makes perfect sense with the way he looks, the way he presents himself. If he would just shut up.
Yeah, he doesn't have to talk if he just kicks ass, yeah.
Yeah, if he would just shut up and not talk, I think people actually might start to cheer him.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, because talking is not his strong suit, because he went to the Sylvester the Cat acting school, apparently, when he was off, when he had his hernia injury, and where do we think, you know, given his poor reaction, what are the chances that Triple H goes over in the main event of Mania?
I really hope that he doesn't, just because it means another year of telling the same fucking story until Reigns is ready.
I
think he is going to go over in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows for the past couple of years, everybody knows it's what happens the day after Mania, and they already teased changing the title on Raw. They already changed the title on Raw already, and that was a big deal. I think changing the title, him dropping the title to somebody, not named Roman Reigns, maybe a Seth Rollins, somebody. I think I have a feeling that's going to happen. I think he's going to go over in WrestleMania because nobody wants to see Roman Reigns win again. And I think they want to give him another chip on his shoulder that he got to WrestleMania twice and still couldn't get the job done, and have that tale of trying to get back to WrestleMania again. I think people could maybe get behind that with Roman Reigns. Just kick ass and stop talking and just get back to the championship.
The only way that I could see a Triple H victory successfully working in storyline is if Triple H wins after a big long fight. Reigns gets really, really frustrated because he's been trying in storyline, and he just hasn't been able to get it, and they just keep screwing him. Maybe there's even a screwy finish at WrestleMania. So Reigns just absolutely loses it on Raw the next night when Triple H announces that, no, I'm not going to give you a rematch.
Yeah.
I'm going to face, say, Dean Ambrose at Payback. So let's say Reigns turns heel on Ambrose, and just maybe makes Triple H can just kind of stay out of the spotlight even. Just let Reigns get real frustrated and angry and vengeful and have a heel run up until, say, SummerSlam or something.
Right.
Just have him get a little heel run so the fans can get all their boos out, and then, once he's had his little comeuppance and the fans kind of get tired of booing him, maybe take him off TV for a while and then bring him back as a face. That's what you're going to have to do to get him over. It's
they're
that
going to
bad
have
at this point.
If they don't turn him heel like WrestleMania or just afterwards, just to be the same stuff again. If they don't listen, then they'll end up with just, I don't know, actually, to be fair, because they didn't listen to the Cena stuff either, did they? So maybe they'll just push through.
Yeah. Vincent McMahon has a penchant for being extremely stubborn when he doesn't get his way.
It's in his biology. He's biologically incapable of taking, most forms of criticism. He basically goes, "It's my way or the highway, god damn it."
Actually, that brings up something that I think maybe would be kind of fun to discuss, maybe on Cageside Speaks here. I don't know how many of you have been following the presidential race, but maybe we should discuss what wrestlers most appear to be like the candidates in the presidential race.
I really have no idea, because
I haven't been following.
I haven't followed, but you're putting me on the spot,
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of parallels if you could look at Donald Trump and Vince McMahon.
Well, they
They're buddies.
for sure.
They work together.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually watched that match. That was a fun one. Anyway, it was just an idea.
I was thinking Donald Trump and Zeb Coulter, the way he's
Oh, hey!
Yeah.
Wow.
the way he treats all your non-Americans over there.
Sneaking across our borders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The guy's a lunatic.
The rhetoric's similar.
Yeah. Okay, so Roy, what are your thoughts on this Roman Reigns thing?
Yeah.
I think if they don't turn him heel, we're just going to be going through this for another year. It's just them shoving it in our faces day after day after day, and everyone's just going to keep booing more and more and more.
They just need to push Dean Ambrose, for crying out loud. They could make him a star right here. Everybody wants to cheer Dean. Everybody is cheering
You're making
Dean.
a lot of assumptions there that everybody wants to cheer Dean Ambrose.
75% of people want to cheer Dean Ambrose.
I think people like Dean Ambrose, and not necessarily want to get behind him, but he's like, I don't want to say Daniel Bryan-like, but he's somebody that the people like to see work. And I really liked when he was feuding with Seth Rollins for the strap. And I like to see that really, really happen. And, they say he's projected to come back SummerSlam. Well, we'll see. But I think Dean Ambrose is a great talent. I like him feuding with Brock Lesnar. He sells. He's a great performer. But I don't think he could be the guy. But he's always in the mix. He's like a guy that could always be in the mix. And him being in the main event scene in Fastlane, he kind of held his own. I love this performance, and I think he's good, man. What do you guys think?
Wait, can anyone be the guy right now?
Well, Dean, I don't think he can be the guy.
No, they're not pushing him enough.
Who would be?
Kevin Owens, if they turned him face?
And we all know, regardless of or not, it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the guy, no matter what. Roman Reigns is the guy.
That's dreadful.
Right. He's right.
That's just a fact. He's gonna be the guy until he goes down. He's the guy.
There's a lot of people in the roster. I can't believe that no one else is even got a thought for them to do it.
That's the thing, because nobody's protected anymore. Everybody's 50-50 booking each other. The only person that's protected is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Really.
Have Brock Lesnar be the guy, at least for a little while.
He was the guy, and I think because he's a babyface now, he needs to be wrong. Somebody really big needs to wrong him, you know.
No. See, he's gonna work heel at WrestleMania, so he'll be a heel leading up to it, and I think effectively that turns him heel again.
I still don't think he's a heel. He's still like Brock Lesnar. He's just a guy that's gonna kick Dean Ambrose's ass, and people just want to see that fight. You know.
So he's like a tweener, essentially?
Yeah, he's a tweener. He's always been a tweener, you know? I mean, people like to see what he does, like, you know?
He's too amazing to hate at this point.
That's fair.
That's the only thing I don't like about the Ambrose-Lesnar thing, in that they're both kind of fan favorite guys, you know? They're both faces, and I really don't... The split crowd thing is really starting to piss me off. Like, that's the only thing.
See what I think about it? Another thing I thought about watching them do the Fastlane at the pay-per-view is like one of my favorite Brock Lesnar matches is the one with him and CM Punk, and they kind of match up like it was like Wolverine versus Sabretooth, and Dean Ambrose kind of has that like Wolverine type of attitude, and to his, you know, Sabretooth. That match, it's like that to me. Like, this guy has no chance of beating this guy, but he keeps getting back up and taking a beating. Like, you know, I think that's the good story.
And letting Lesnar step on his face.
Oh yeah, that was
awesome. That was a fantastic moment.
I mean, especially for me, considering the fact that I don't like Dean Ambrose in the very slightest. That's
fine, Fitz. You're in the minority.
Yeah.
Okay, you can like who you like, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, look, I don't understand this Dean Ambrose push in the very slightest. My mother, isn't a fan of professional wrestling, doesn't understand Dean Ambrose, why he's being cheered, because he looks like a creepy 1970s greaser that you find in a bar in Ohio.
Exactly.
That's why he's being cheered. He's a blue collar dude. You know, a lot of the wrestling fan base is made up of, you know, I mean, based on what I've seen, you know, blue collar, you know, people who really understand the value of hard work, and really Dean is the guy who's been pushed down over and over and over.
And he hasn't been hurt since he made the main roster. He hasn't been hurt.
He's the guy who's been, you know, he's been second fiddle over and over. He's been the wingman. He's been the sidekick.
He's the Iron Man, as he says.
Now everybody's just like, you know what? Just get him out of the sidekick role. We like him enough. Just give him a chance with the belt at least.
Yeah, I liked him with the Intercontinental title.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
They've just got a real problem with who they like and who we like, and I think it's just a clash like the whole time. And Vince loves that. He must do. Like, he's like, oh, you like this guy? No, I don't think so. And then Ambrose gets more popular, Reigns gets less popular. But he just thinks that's good, I think.
That would be fun in storyline, though, if they actually had Vince, you know, come out and, you know, say, oh, you know, you really like this guy, you must want me to give him a match. Well, all you people fall for that every time. I'm not giving him a match, you know. That would be interesting in storyline, but instead it's completely frustrating because they don't do it in storyline. They act like everything's okay.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, when you look at Vince, you have to also consider that everybody else in that company has a different way of thinking about who should be our future. You've got Laurinaitis, who's been pushing for international guys and Japanese guys for years. You've got Haynes and his obsession with tag team wrestling. You've got so many different people. I mean, Triple H is a thing for Mid-South wrestling. There's so many different styles and people who want this to be pushed as the main style that it's just become a literal train wreck of people trying to get their ideas through the tunnel.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I guess you're always going to kind of have that, but the tunnel opening is very small, and its name is Vincent McMahon. If he doesn't want something to get onto the roster, it's not going to happen, however much you want to push it. So unless you have Vince's ear, unless you can convince him it's the right thing to do in the moment, he's just not going to listen to you.
If it makes money, that's the thing that will get Vince to listen.
If he thinks it will make money.
Yeah. you have to make him think
But he's
that.
frequently wrong about that.
No, but
Yeah.
he gets behind things that the fans get behind eventually. He
Eventually.
pushes things,
Kicking
but
and screaming.
but it's look how long it took for them to get that all different kinds of New Day merch, but eventually it happens. At the same time, it's still a company, and Vince is the end all be all, but he still has to answer to other board members as well, and that's another side of the business that sometimes we have a blinders to, but I just think people, just the wrestlers, they just have to work on their act, like get their act together, and it'll draw. Like Mark Henry, I wish they would give him one last Hall of Pain run. I mean, they have nobody on the roster. Give him another Hall of Pain rub. I don't know, maybe because he's injury prone. I know he got hurt a couple of weeks ago.
I kind of get the feeling
every time he gets going, he gets hurt. So.
Yeah.
I get the feeling he would get the silent treatment from the crowd at this point. They just don't. I just don't think they see Mark Henry as a threat anymore. He's been booked into the ground.
Same thing with Ziggs too. Like I think because of his concussions
getting there
as well, I think they're like not wanting to give him a push because
They're hesitant.
it's crazy. The guys that wrestle that style, when they get the strap on them, they want to give extra, and that's what gets them hurt. I've come to realize with Daniel Bryan and with Dolph Ziggler.
Well, it's because you're relying on them as a top guy at that point.
Yeah.
They've got to wrestle. They got to do more.
Yeah.
Look at the top guys of New Japan. They don't do more. They do 80% most of the time, unless it's in the main event.
Right.
In which case, they then go 100%. But they don't go 100% all the time.
But it's true. I remember I was listening to another podcast, and I think it was Stone Cold, and they're talking about like Cesaro getting hurt and stuff like that, and they're pushing guys in the mid card and just guys in general to have bigger matches and pay-per-view style matches on Raw and stuff like that. That was happening a lot this year. The Cesaros were giving pay-per-view quality matches. Who else? I can't think of anybody else right now, but John Cena.
Cesaro's style is very mat-based, very grapply.
Yeah.
And that actually, like, once Cesaro gets back, that will be fantastic to just watch
he's
him
gonna
work
be over.
again. He's great, and he's going to be massively over, and they need to give him a push with a belt. They need to.
They need to give him somebody to talk in his promos, though. That's going to be his biggest weakness.
I liked it when he was the U.S. champion. He should do that again. Like, he was a great U.S. champion. It was a
underrated run there.
Yeah, and they don't need to give him someone to talk necessarily. He can just be, I mean, I said Roman should be the silent badass. Why not Cesaro?
I kind of liked it when he started talking. I like the whole Walk Owens walk thing. Like he was starting to get over, and he had some pretty good Miz TV segments as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, but he just I think he needs more mic time. And I liked when he was with Tyson Kidd, the whole fact thing. That was good, man. It sucks to see them get hurt too, man. The injuries are just crazy right now, man. It's this.
Did they wrestle on top of an Indian burial ground? Because it's
know.
like the company is cursed.
And that's why, I'm actually so excited because WWE right now they're not doing great with the amount of talent that they have. But with the amount of people out hurt, I mean, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Tyson Kidd. All these people are out injured, and when they all get back, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they add them back in. What kind of they can almost remake the main event scene from the ground up.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well.
Which will be interesting. I mean, they can throw a piece like Cesaro into the mix. They can even have him have a main event. Like they can have him go for the WWE Championship.
Exactly.
Because he'll be hot when he comes back in.
If Del Rito could walk in and squash John Cena in 5 minutes, I mean, it's possible for anybody to come back and be an Impact guy. It's just about maintaining and staying behind them, and actually giving them. I hope they're taking this time to repackage themselves and come back and make an impact. I think Randy Orton's going to be a part-time guy. I don't think he should be in the mix, so to speak. Like, he should just be a guy that helps get the other guys to the next level,
Well,
Yeah,
they also have a replacement in Carl Anderson that can basically do Randy's moves, and is
really?
also Yeah, Carl Anderson does the gun stun, which is basically Randy Orton's cutter.
Well, but see, they need to give him some time in NXT with Finn Balor. I'm looking forward to see what they do with Bullet Club down there.
Does he shit in bags as well, like Orton does?
No.
All right, cool.
Wow, Martin. Wow. We'll move on to Shane McMahon.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do
Okay,
that.
so the Shane's... Sure. Sir Roy, what was the question?
No, I said, here comes the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a song.
I guess the question is, and this is something I keep hearing talked about, is Shane really going to fight Undertaker?
God, I hope not.
Well, there's one response. It's a no.
I love Shane McMahon, but he's like 45 now, hasn't wrestled for, what, 7, 8 years? This is not a good idea.
Well,
Not a
most
good
Shane McMahon matches are kind of not cases of not good ideas. Like that time that they, at Backlash when he fought Kurt Angle, he went through the plate glass.
Oh, man. Slammed into it about 2 times before you went through.
Yeah, it didn't go off right.
Yeah, and this thing is, I do worry about Shane's health. He's older. I wouldn't want to call him old, like,
He's the same age as Triple H. He's a year older than Triple H.
Like, he is. And The Undertaker is an old guy. He's a guy who needs, if this isn't his last WrestleMania, my goodness, it needs to be 33. Or possibly retire at SummerSlam. Just get out of the business, man. You're too old at this point to be doing anything in a ring, in my opinion. But anyway, Shane, I think it would be interesting to see if he could maybe fight using a proxy, but he seems very insistent whenever anybody asks him that he's going to be doing the match. That could all be a work. I don't know. But he seems very insistent, and the rumor coming out of before Fastlane was that it was going to be somebody not on the roster that was set to face Undertaker. So my thought is that Shane McMahon, they could swerve me and go Finn Balor, but I think he's the only other option.
Aren't they talking about Cena doing it?
Cena's not. I think
I don't want it, but that's what
I just don't think he's going to be ready in time. I think he's going to try for the massive recovery. It just seems medically impossible to me.
Also, if Shane does beat Taker, what does that make Brock? It's like, who cares?
I think it's going to be a schmoz. I don't think it's if Shane wins. Either way, I don't think it's going to be a clean finish whatsoever.
What about that's how you bring the Bullet Club up?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there might be.
That's actually a good idea, Martin.
I think they're saving the Bullet Club thing for the summer. I think that's more of a summer angle like they could play off, when all the major players are back. Because who are they going to beat up? It's just like when WCW came over and they had the mid card guys, like they were superstars, like they should be in the mix, with top talent, with them to match up with.
They could always beat up Dean Ambrose every week. That would make for must-see television in my case.
Okay.
He can take a beating, so I have no problems with seeing that. He'll sell a good beating. So
it makes his character.
Just have Roman Reigns beat them up every week. That's probably what'll happen.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I do think it'd be interesting if the Bullet Club was just kind of hiding under the ring during the Undertaker Shane match, and then all of a sudden they kind of popped out, and it was Finn, and he had the NXT Championship, and he just ran around on the roster, just kind of terrorizing people like the Shield or like the Nexus, just beating everyone up for the next number of weeks, and just said, yeah, we're the Bullet Club, and had a run on the main roster up till SummerSlam, where maybe he came up to the main roster, dropped the championship to somebody in NXT, and now we have Finn Balor, and hopefully Carl and Doc Anderson.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if it's Hell in the Cell, they can't come in. Somebody's got to be underneath the ring. Who could they possibly be under the ring? And Finn Balor is the only other character other than Bray Wyatt that has some kind of supernatural element to his character,
Yeah,
unless they bring back Papa Shango, he's going in the Hall of Fame,
Oh, Papa Shango was already.
It'd be incredible.
He had beef with the Undertaker back in the day, did he?
Yeah.
Don't talk about Papa Shango.
Or was that Ultimate Warrior he made throw up? It was the Ultimate Warrior.
It was Ultimate Warrior.
That was so good.
Oh,
yeah, man. I was a little kid, man. I bought that, man. I thought he was killing that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, we already have enough Papa Shango voodoo courses with all the injuries on these rosters
Right?
right now. Anyway, it seems as though that what I'm hearing is that they're going to do it in the cell, this Shane Undertaker match, which makes it.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, it makes it an easier match for them to work because the cage does all the work,
Mhm.
Yeah, you're just going to kind of walk around and occasionally get your face
Yeah, you're gonna get a
smashed
couple of chair shots.
lightly into some metal.
I don't think we're gonna see a coast to coast. That would be nice.
That would be really.
You know what? I actually expect Shane to try.
That's his signature. Yeah, that's his signature
He's an
spot.
insane person. He'll try it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing he could probably do. He's not gonna do anything off the top of the cage. Maybe not. I don't know. You think it's gonna spill outside onto the outside?
If he tried.
I think he might try and climb the cage and just jump it. Again, he's the only one I think on the main roster who Vince will just kind of give him a blank check and say, "Hey, if you want to go get a concussion on your watch, that's fine with me." Because he's the son of the owner. I mean, they're going to give him that blank check.
Yeah, we'll probably see a Crimson Mask as well, probably. With the blood capsules, of course.
They've shown
I hope not because
to do that.
I hope not because honestly, because Undertaker's 50 years old, Shane is 46. I really don't want to see a Crimson Mask on either of these guys, but they're gonna try to do that because they're crazy like that.
They're both old school. They're
easing us into the blood. They're easing us back into the blood.
Yeah, sorry, someone's got to bleed in a Hell in a Cell, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's WrestleMania 33. They got to do everything they can.
It's the celebrity show, though, so I understand that they would want to do that, but this isn't like the show for us. The show for us is going to be NXT TakeOver Dallas. And then we also have to consider what is going on with the Ladies' Championship. I mean, who's going to face Charlotte at Mania?
I think it's going to be a triple threat.
Triple threat?
I think there's going to be some sort of schmoz on Raw next week. I think there's going to be... I think Charlotte has set this up too perfectly. I think in storyline it's all part of a trap that Charlotte is setting because she's the one who's come down and announced the match both times and tried to turn these people against each other. I think she's going to prevent there from being a clean finish, and then, I don't know, maybe Sasha Banks goes back, talks to the Authority, and says, well, we got a triple threat at Mania now.
So do you think they do that so that Sasha pins Becky at Mania and Charlotte doesn't get pinned?
No, I think they have Sasha pin Charlotte.
I think Charlotte's going to win. She's going to walk out of Mania with the trip.
Oh, God. More.
They do that, they'd be shooting the entire storyline in the head.
Yeah.
No.
As well as any momentum Sasha and Becky have gained over the past,
They
I'd say,
don't
6 months.
They don't have any momentum whatsoever.
Yeah, Sasha's way over with the crowd.
Well, like I said, she's over with people like us and people who normally watch the product are not. I feel are not. They don't know who Sasha is. They don't know the talent that she has.
Been chanting for her.
She hasn't wrestled any one-on-one matches. And a guy like me, I just happened to watch the match at the takeover thing because in Brooklyn, I'm in New York. I watched it, and it was one of the best matches I ever saw. But she's not being presented in WWE as the same person she was presented in NXT.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely true.
Well, none of them are.
Except for Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte came in and she came in already heel-like by saying she's genetically superior and all that. Then they kind of deaded all of that, and then now she's like full on, Ric Flair 2.0. And I just feel like I remember I forgot what pay-per-view it was, but there was a pay-per-view, but I think it was maybe a pay-per-view or two before Fastlane when all the heels went over. And I think to make this WrestleMania different, I think evil should prevail more, because like if everybody goes in knowing what's going to happen, it's I mean, they swerved me last year with the cash-in. I never would have thought that, and the year before they swerved me with the streak being broken. So I feel like in order to make this a little interesting is, the heel always loses at WrestleMania. Triple H won at WrestleMania 2000. He was the first heel to go over in like how long, so I think it's due for that. Like there's not enough good guys, like credible good guys to have the happy endings for, in my opinion. I think
you've got Kalisto. You know,
Come on. I think they just damaged. I just feel bad for John Cena. It's like all that work he did was for in vain. Like he earned my respect, working all those matches. Ever since his match with Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, he's earned my respect as like, yo, he could wrestle. Like, you know, he could go. And like now that belt is just like a toy now to me. Like no disrespect to Kalisto, but I felt like maybe they could have put him in that cruiserweight thing that they're gonna do to kind of get him over and then put a strap on him. You know, but I just think it was too early for him to have a strap. I think they should have won the tag team.
I actually think it was the perfect time to put Kalisto with the belt because, you know, you never know what you're going to get until the guy actually gets it. And I've been pretty impressed with what he's been doing so far. And about the John Cena point, the problem is John didn't put anybody over when he had the strap except ADR, and ADR has been a disaster thus far because he's had to adjust back from doing a Mexican Lucha Libre style to a WWE style once again.
Now,
And
see,
that
I
takes time.
disagree with that, William. I think even if people lost in the John Cena Open Challenge,
They got a good rub.
the strap, they got a great rub. Like Cesaro had a fantastic match. Fantastic set of matches with him. Neville
Even
got a
Zack
great
Ryder.
rub.
He had a good match with Zack Ryder. That was
And
a great
Sami
match.
Zayn. I mean, all these guys got name recognition. They got to have great matches with a guy who can really work, namely Cena. I really think that even if these guys lost, they got the advantage of getting that rub. Now, sure, they didn't go over in the sense that they didn't win.
But John had to work for all of those wins.
Yeah, and the crowd, I think, was behind everybody who was fighting Cena. Oh, maybe this will be the time. Maybe Cena actually loses. And Cena was able to make them think that.
Every single time, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was actually a fantastic run. I actually wish that Kalisto would bring
that
back
was the gimmick. Yeah, I was wish that was like, you know, like how they had the hardcore title back in the day. I just wish that was the gimmick for the title. Like, just make it the TV title because that's pretty much what John Cena was doing with it. You know.
There you go.
Okay,
although I would make the IC title the TV title. I think you need a separate United States Championship just because, you know, patriotism and rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, I think they should just make those belts exclusive, like one of those exclusive to Rock. I know the rumor is that they're going to do another brand split, but they don't have to really do a brand split, but just, you know, make certain titles, like just the secondary titles exclusive to the shows and just have one World Heavyweight Championship still.
They were kind of trying to do that with the IC title and SmackDown, but for a little while, but now they've kind of pulled away from that.
Yeah, that whole thing with Daniel Bryan, I think that derailed the whole thing because the U.S. title was getting credibility. If Daniel Bryan didn't get hurt, it would have been on that level as well, in my opinion.
Oh, that's interesting to hear, you know. So, Roy, what are your thoughts on this Charlotte, Sasha, potentially Becky Lynch match at Mania?
You have to get the belt off of Charlotte because she's not interesting.
Yep.
She's just not interesting. And people love Sasha. I don't think it's the whole crowd that loves Sasha. I think they're slowly starting to love her. I don't think they love her as much as everyone in NXT did. But Charlotte, it's just I can't get into anything she's doing.
She's generic, basically. She's a 6'4" former gymnast who's as generic as they come. I mean,
well, the problem is they've made her worse. They've made her even more generic by making her exactly like a female Ric Flair.
Except
even
taller.
letting.
I mean,
even letting
NXT,
Rick win.
But was she this generic in NXT?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen her in it, but you know, sometimes you see things with rose-colored glasses, so. I didn't know.
Actually real good.
Why do you say she's generic? I'm just curious as to.
She's basically Ric Flair but taller. She does every single one of his mannerisms.
How tall is Charlotte?
6'4".
Well, I mean, what
she's not even Ric Flair, honestly.
What kind of gimmick would you have given her though? When you have Ric Flair right there.
Something that doesn't involve Ric Flair because again we're running into another person that I don't like on the roster, Ric Flair.
Okay, there you go then. All right.
Yeah.
But I think we're all forgetting the most important question: how tall is Charlotte?
I don't know.
7 feet tall, bro.
I think she's 5'11". I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other divas are just really small.
This is the new question that we all must answer. Yeah. The last one was about Batista. This one's about Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, but the thing is that on the independent scene, there actually is a better version of Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
And that is Allison Kay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AK-47 is she basically considers herself this classy individual, even though she's from a trailer park, and she's considerably more dangerous than Charlotte has ever been in a ring because, watch any of her matches, especially the one where she takes on Mama Page, Saraya Knight, and Shine in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and she's just as dangerous as Saraya.
Yeah, see, I think you may watch more indie wrestling than I do, which is to say I don't watch any at all.
Yeah, she's not as dangerous unless she's got a dad that's prepared to sexually assault her opponent.
Yeah, there was that.
Just stealing, baby.
My thing about Charlotte is that
Fastlane. Let's talk about that match.
Roy, continue.
No, I was saying my thing about Charlotte is that she looks huge and powerful, and then her finisher is a leg lock, you know, and a really crappy spear.
Everybody has a spear, though.
Yeah, her actual
She
finish
needs
is
to do a move that makes her look
It's horrible.
powerful. Because honestly, I'm not into the figure four as a finisher, and they seem to screw it up anyway every time they're in the ring. Well, figure eight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's the same thing.
So, Martin, you are starting some sort of point there. Do you want to continue?
Oh yeah, just that her actual finish is really good, but they use the figure four instead, don't they? Just because it's like Rick.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual like natural selection or whatever used to be good in NXT.
Mm-hmm. But she also had good people pumping for the move. That's
exactly.
kind of was the smoke Charlotte was.
Fans that actually cared about what they were seeing as well. That helps.
Yep.
The Call to Full Sail, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an alum.
Oh, you're an alum.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Let's see. Next topic is, for some reason, there's now a tag team in the WWE. It's two old guys. AJ Styles and Chris Jericho are now a tag team for some reason.
That was random.
I saw that happen.
Stupid was what that was.
I mean, let's just turn Jericho heel, please.
Please.
Let him be the grumpiest old man in the grumpiest world, okay?
It would be funny.
I mean, look at it. I know you don't watch indie wrestling, Connor, but you need to watch the matches of Genichiro Teru, especially during his early 2000s run. The guy is the grumpiest old man in the grumpiest universe, because Jericho used to work for his promotion, War Wrestling, and it was actually originally called Wrestling and Romance, but they just shortened it to War.
I'd love to know what kind of matches went on there.
Backwards.
It was more Japanese drama style things, like Japanese and Korean dramas.
Yeah, okay. I don't watch those either, but I can imagine what the storylines must have been like. I'm sure it was real interesting. But yeah, no, I don't understand why they're. I would agree. Turn Jericho heel. I mean, I don't know why. AJ is already massively over with the crowds. They love him, and just let him have his own run. I mean, I was actually hoping they would let him face Kevin Owens at Mania for the IC title.
The problem is, do you want AJ stuck with him to your belt? If you're going to put him over in the summer,
Sure, I do.
Anything's better than nothing.
He'd be able to. He
might get Money in the Bank. It'll be nice for him to have.
Yeah, that's a possibility for him to get the Money in the Bank briefcase, but we're not sure. The problem is the Money in the Bank thing has been kind of overdone lately. There's a concern there.
Yeah, Shane was kind of really.
If it went away, I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good tool to have, but it's a tool that the storyline people have been overusing lately, and they haven't been using it well. To certain people, like Sandow, got absolutely destroyed having that briefcase around. And they also seem to have this assumption that everybody should be taking losses if they have the briefcase. Now, New Japan doesn't do that. They have a briefcase similar to the Money in the Bank thing, but it's on the line in every single pay-per-view. If you lose that briefcase, you're done as a challenger, and the guy that gets the briefcase gets the challenge for the belt at the Tokyo Dome show in January.
Yeah, see, now I actually like that concept. I actually wish that after the Money in the Bank, pay-per-views happens, somebody wins the briefcase, you could have a match for the briefcase like it's an actual belt.
Yeah.
You know, at some other pay-per-views. I think that could make it interesting if that was a gimmick that you wanted to run at some pay-per-views where somebody challenges the briefcase holder for the briefcase. Because that would be interesting because the winner gets a chance to basically cash in and win the championship. The stepping stone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
I
the
agree
thing
as well.
is, the thing is with Jericho is the guy has got to slow down. He's not in his 20s anymore. He's lost several steps. You know, you have to turn back towards more of focus on the psychology and focus on doing acts of evil in order to get the crowd over with you as a heel.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Martin, what are your thoughts on this Y2AJ thing?
I just think it didn't take long for someone to decide that AJ should be dancing and like not to bother focusing on his wrestling anymore. Hopefully, obviously, this is just really temporary. But I do think it speaks to a lot more problems that they can't think of anything that isn't kind of cheesy and stuff, whereas he could be tearing the arenas down every week.
Maybe he's just going through a hazing process, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That, I mean, you wouldn't put it past him, would you? It's kind of embarrassing, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think of that because it's WWE and they do this kind of stuff all the time.
But yeah, hopefully this will lead to Jericho's like turn. Not that it's not predictable, but and then they can have even though another match at WrestleMania, I'm not sure, but at least there'd be some heat in that one.
I think that there's going to be a double turn happening, that Jericho is going to turn on AJ and then side with The Miz, because The Miz has been feuding with AJ as well in this point, and I feel that AJ he is kind of disappeared, but that's The Miz. He disappears like this all the time.
I think he's a good opponent for him.
Yeah.
I agree too. Inserting The Miz in there would be fantastic. Miz is a big-time underrated wrestler, so I'm definitely...
Yeah,
he's a great worker.
He could take a beating. You know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, The Miz
and I like his mic work against him. Like he really, did a great job in that mid-TV. So, yeah, you know.
He wants
when
to be
my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut.
Yeah. He doesn't care about getting a face reaction. All he cares about is getting a villainous reaction from the audience, and he's one of the few that actually focuses on being a pure heel.
Mm-hmm.
And, anyway, AJ's probably going to then team with Big Show, which might lead to that inevitable turn. I know, I'm just pointing it out.
Wait, what?
And that he's going to mostly likely team with Big Show if Jericho betrays him. And that would actually be kind of sort of an irony because Big Show was the former partner of both Jericho and Miz.
Yep.
So there's a storyline connection there.
Were they tag team champions? Him and the Miz, right? They're tag team champions at one point too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Show Miz, I think you're called.
The Miz Show.
I'd say Big Show's going through the locker room more than Batista. What's that all about? Like, just because everyone has to tag with Big Show at some point, don't they? Like, so
it's like a ritualistic.
Why would anyone trust Big Show as a tag partner, though? I mean, he turns more times than anything.
He's reliable to a certain extent, because at least you know that he's going to turn eventually on you, but at least until I have him, I have a ginormous 7-foot-tall giant that's going to punch anything that moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess.
So, what are you looking forward to this Mania as far as the 3 minor belts, the tag team, the IC, and the US belt? Let's, Martin, do you want to start us off with this?
Personally, not too fussed about the tag belts just because it's just a bit too random to me. Like people are in, people are out, sort of thing. But I think trying to think who the champs were, even though we've just been talking about it.
IC belt is Kevin Owens, and the US belt is Kalisto.
Yeah, see, Kalisto I'm not bothered about. Owens got a feud at the moment. I don't think he has he?
He's got one with
Raw for no reason.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know they've still got 4 weeks, and they give or take. But I mean, anything that Owens is in is fantastic. They need to establish that pretty quick, I reckon, because obviously Ambrose has moved on. So I don't really know, to be honest.
I mean, honestly, I think he should be a face at some point, but that's just me. Roy, do you have anything to add to this?
Kevin Owens needs to stay heel, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see him as a face. I don't think I've ever actually seen him as a face anywhere else either.
He was a face briefly in Ring of Honor.
He was?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. But
Okay.
he's so good at being a heel.
But the thing is about Kevin Owens is that he's a family man. He's a working class hero. He's the guy that people would want to cheer for. I mean, it's already hard enough for him as is to get any form of heel reaction because people just don't want to boo this guy. Well,
True.
Well, no, I think they do want to boo him. Just he gets massive boos at arenas during the matches when he kind of talks at people. But I think the fans boo him not because it's get off the stage sort of boos. It's not that kind of boo. It's like we actually think you're doing a good job as a heel boo. You know, you're actually doing heel things, so we're going to boo you. And I actually think Kevin Owens is almost a natural heel the way his character is going. I'm not sure. I'd actually love to see how he gets himself over as a face, because I mean, it'd just be incredibly interesting to me to watch because his character right now seems to mesh so well with being a heel.
All right, I agree.
If he can pull that off, I'd love to see how he pulls off being a face.
I think he can pull it off perfectly, because, like I said, he's a family man. He's a guy that a lot of working class families are going to sympathize with because he's got kids, he's a working man, he's a guy that has crawled all the way up from the indies and is now in the WWE and is succeeding despite everything that goes on around him. I think that would be a great story, and you also have a perfect villain, and I hate to say this, in Sami Zayn.
You have a perfect villain in Zayn? See, I actually would wait until after the Zayn-Owens feud was over. Maybe blow it off at your biggest show of the summer, SummerSlam. If you want to make that into kind of the WrestleMania of the summer, blow that off at SummerSlam, then maybe try turning Owens face. Because I think that Zayn as a face just kind of works better. People want to cheer Zayn at this point.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I think a good way that I'm actually I was interested because I never even thought of him being on the good side, but I think it takes a right opponent for him to fight for him to get that sympathy, babyface love, and I think people have been teasing it, but I think a guy like Brock Lesnar, a guy that he's a prize fighter, that's his thing, and that's the biggest prize, like him just taking a beating and trying to beat Brock Lesnar for his family or whatever. I think that's something that they could get behind. Or maybe, he beats up Sami Zayn and, it's like, what's that movie again? Like Bloodsport, and he's like, avenging his friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if anybody's going to kick Sami Zayn's ass, it's me type of thing. So
he was already doing that with Cesaro, technically, because Cesaro had destroyed Sami Zayn in NXT, and that's how I felt that feud went, because you took out Sami Zayn. That was my prize.
Oh, really? That's how that went down? Oh.
Well, it wasn't said, but that's how I thought it was, because Cesaro was the first person to try and destroy Sami Zayn, and that's why Kevin Owens went after Cesaro.
I never saw those matches. I should take a look at it. Those were the kind of the matches that kind of put him back on the radar, right? Cesaro, right?
Yeah. Those were fantastic. Like a 2 out of 3 falls.
2 out of 3 falls matches. Yeah, those were like one of the first takeovers and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So are you excited for... I noticed that we haven't talked about the New Day much. Roy, what are your thoughts on them?
The New Day have nothing to do.
Right.
Who are the other tag teams right now?
League of Nations and the Lucha Dragons, technically, with the Dudleys and the social...
Soon to be Golden Truth, maybe.
And the Social Outcast.
So really no one.
No one.
Because none of those tag teams are over enough. That's why I was so mad and very surprised that because Enzo and Cass currently, at that point, had nothing to do in NXT. Now they're feuding with the Mechanics again down there, I think, but Dash and Dawson. But, I think at that point they had nothing to do. Why didn't they just bring Enzo and Cass up to the main roster? It would have given the New Day a really, really hot feud going into WrestleMania. They could have worked on it over the last couple of weeks, but I guess I got to give League of Nations something to do.
Right.
Yeah, give the
Yeah.
established acts something to do, then bring up the new acts. That's how they've done, WrestleManias, because like I've said, WrestleMania is the showcase show for the masses, not for people like us. We're
I
kind of
think
really.
I think those guys they're really good on the mic. From the NXT stuff that I have watched, and I think a good place for them to debut would be right after WrestleMania. The New Day, Victorious, they come in and they get interrupted by these louder mouth guys,
Yeah,
And
the
I
night
think I think and it's something at Extreme Rules. I think that's the next pay per view after WrestleMania.
It's Payback, actually.
Payback. Oh, okay.
They
yeah, they moved
flipped
them around,
Payback and
didn't
They moved
Extreme
them
Rules.
around. Oh,
they?
okay.
Yeah,
Oh well. But no, I actually think I'm looking forward to Enzo versus Xavier Woods on the mic.
yeah, that
Yeah.
will be a really good
Yeah.
match. And most importantly, since we're on the subject of WrestleMania, are they going to sell out? Because there are currently 2,000 tickets unsold.
I think it's 20,000 actually.
20,000 tickets are
No,
unsold
they're
right
not
now.
going to sell out.
Yeah.
My wife is working with someone, and they're going to WrestleMania, and they said that their tickets are only $300. So you think they would have sold out by now? Tickets are $300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, go on. I was going to say I think they won't sell out, but they'll say they will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they'll lie for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they will. But I mean, and I guess the question then is, your goal was to sell out Cowboy Stadium out in Arlington. You don't do it. I mean, I understand all the talent injuries and everything, but there were a couple of booking decisions you could have made to make everything a little hotter going into WrestleMania, and you didn't make them. Does this cause Vince to maybe take a step back, looking at the falling numbers, falling ratings? I mean, he did give Shane those lines to say on Monday Night Raw, but does he step back and go, well, maybe I need to, change a couple of ways that I look at booking now, you know, or does he just kind of doggedly and stubbornly just keep doing what he's doing? And I think it's going to be the latter.
What's the attendance of that stadium? Is it like 110,000?
100,000. It's 100,000.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be no shame if they did like 90 or 95 or whatever. But as long as it doesn't look empty, obviously, like loads of gaps and stuff. But I think that's what this whole Shane thing's all about, isn't it? Like those extra last sort of push of people to go, oh, okay, something big might really happen.
It's a desperation move by Vince and company to try and get this thing sold out. Does this play into how the show is presented, though?
I mean, I don't know what you mean by that.
Are they going to do certain matches differently, like if they didn't have a full house?
You mean maybe like let the heels win instead of the faces?
Or maybe make the faces win instead of the heels. It's a complicated formula situation right now with Mania on the horizon because it is the spectator show.
Right.
I don't know. They still had Sting lose, didn't they? Even though they had all those many people in there. I don't really think Vince is that bothered about that stuff, is he?
No,
I think not to interrupt, sorry, but I think for them to sell out the rest, they're gonna have to pull some rabbits out of their hats, and they're gonna need some superstar power. They're gonna need some kind of musical guest. They're gonna need, somebody who people wanted to see for a long time. Maybe back up the Brinks truck for Batista. Back up the Brinks truck for Stone Cold to do something physical. Not work a match, but get his hands dirty. I think they have to create a must see because every year they still manage to do it. I thought last year's WrestleMania was going to be disastrous, and it wasn't a bad WrestleMania. I just think it was this timed a little bit off because I didn't really like the Bray Wyatt and Undertaker match being in the daytime. But other than that, I think they can, and they still have some time to add some more elements to it. But as far as right now, I'm not liking where it's going. The only two matches, the match I think is really going to steal the show is the Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, even though I know people here don't like Dean Ambrose, but I think it's going to be like, the SummerSlam match with him and CM Punk. I think it's going to be, great. I just don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, Paul Heyman, I don't know how he's going to get involved in it, but I think Paul Heyman should, I like when CM Punk was around and he kind of had a stable. He had Curtis Axel, Brock Lesnar. I think he should go back to, getting some more guys and being a Paul Heyman guy, and
The
be
problem
around more.
is that Heyman isn't really motivated to continue doing that. He's only sticking around for Brock
For Brock
Lesnar.
Lesnar, right? I had a feeling he said that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just quick, do
That
we know what
sucks.
The Rock's doing yet? Like,
I don't
'cause
think he's booked. Yeah, I don't think he's booked. I think he's doing
Guarantee
the
he'll be in
Baywatch
Reigns'
movie
corner.
around that time.
Guarantee he'll be in Reigns' corner.
Yeah, because he tweeted, or Instagram, sorry, didn't he, to say that he was...
Yeah, he's going to be at WrestleMania, but I don't think he's going to work a match.
No,
But
I just
I
mean...
don't think people. I think he should screw Roman Reigns, man.
Screw him. Well,
No, I just mean, like, at least...
That's just going to get Rock here more.
yeah, that would just mean that, I mean, if he screwed Roman Reigns, it'd be like the exact same crowd reaction that happened on Raw last night when H beat up Roman Reigns. They would cheer The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Rock show. How dare the jabroni?
But I mean, that buries Reigns. And I mean, we all want Reigns to be buried at this point. But
I mean, I don't have anything against Reigns. Reigns is the guy no matter what, but I just think that everybody needs to turn against him in order for him to really unlock that aggression, and just kick ass, Either that or fucking put the Shield back together already, because...
Oh, God. Let's not go into that direction,
No,
because honestly... Yeah.
I don't want to see that to happen, but it's going to happen, Roman Reigns... Seth Rollins is coming back as a face, regardless or not. They're going to... Regardless or not that, he's a bad guy, he's going to get cheered on the way back. I love him as a bad guy, but he's going to get Shane McMahon-like pops when he comes back.
See, I didn't like Seth Rollins as a heel. He's going to do fine as a face. I just don't like Seth Rollins, period. That's 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. Ambrose and Rollins are 2 guys I don't like in the Shield. The only one I actually kind of like and I'm mostly indifferent to is Reigns. Now, if Reigns beats up The Rock and beats up Ambrose, I'm going to be a fan of his for life because I do not like The Rock and I do not like Dean Ambrose.
Well, I think actually that would be... that's the path I would actually have Reigns take, not at Mania, but at the Raw after Mania. Like I said, I think it actually would be best if it would be best for business anyway. I think if Triple H won,
Me too.
and then Reigns just got so epically frustrated and like, oh, you're screwing me out of a chance to care for my daughter, and so on and so forth. He can go on and on about that, and The Rock tries to calm him down, and he just beats up on The Rock, and maybe interferes in Triple H and Dean Ambrose's confrontation or match or something, beats up on Ambrose. Triple H just kind of watches from the sidelines, lets it all happen.
Grinning happily. I mean, but the problem is, if Roman beats up The Rock, then Rock is going to fly around the ring like a popped hot air balloon.
No,
Okay.
don't have him do that. Literally have Reigns beat him so badly. That's what you do. That's how you get him over as a heel. Now, I get it. Everybody wants to boo him, but that's how you make it clear to the fans, no, this is really happening. We really want him to be a heel. Is just let him absolutely knock the tar out of The Rock and just don't let him, don't let him do any of his little people's elbow nonsense.
Yeah.
Maybe he can come back and do that at another pay-per-view if he wants to just come back in real quick and wrestle a fun match.
If his insurance company will let him do that.
But no, that's what I would do. I would have Roman Reigns just beat up on The Rock, solidify himself as a heel, but not the kind of heel that allies with the Authority right off the bat. In fact, if Triple H approaches him again, he should beat up Triple H. Roman should just be so frustrated with everybody that he goes, you know what? Screw all of you. I'm going to destroy all of you.
I'm going to sit in my corner and be angry and grumpy about everything.
It would be so easy for me to like Roman Reigns if he would just destroy everything and be quiet.
That's what he should do.
Yeah.
And that'll eventually get him back over as a face if he just does that. But he'll start as a heel.
He has Goldberg-like intensity too. Like, he has the intangibles. He just can't talk on the mic. He should just, kick ass, and just... I don't know if he needs a guy to talk for him, but he just needs to be a guy on a mission that they were pushing that one versus all thing. That should really, be the case for him, like him just
Have him
running
have
through
a
the roster.
throne. Have him have a throne, and and have him be
Remove
sort of
it.
the Roman Empire. Push the Roman
Maybe
Empire thing.
maybe you should be maybe you should be King of the Ring. Have him because I guess because Barrett got hurt, he couldn't really do anything with that. But no matter what they gave him, he was still losing. He was multiple-time Intercontinental Champion. He was still jobbing out. So
It's Wade
at
Barrett,
least
though.
at least Roman Reigns is a protected guy, so he could give the something like that some prestige. Like he doesn't really need the title yet.
So I was kind of
I
surprised
feel-
that they gave the. I was surprised when they actually gave the King of the Ring to Barrett. I remember when that happened, and it was him versus Neville, I think, in the final. And I thought,
Yeah.
why in the world didn't
They-
Neville win? He's the up and comer.
I think they wanted to get rid of the bad news gimmick, which was bad to me. Like they should
I love
have
the
kept
bad news
doing it.
gimmick.
Yeah, they should have kept that. I just think they
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of that for him.
And
That
I thought,
sucked.
I thought that was a real fun. I thought
Yeah.
that was a real fun gimmick, and I think he owned it real well. And when they gave him King Barrett, I just think the crowd just went, "Really? No,
Yeah.
we like cheering for the other thing. Give us that back," and just booed him.
Yeah, he should have still kept the gimmick, but just put a king twist on it.
The whole King of the Ring thing looks kind of silly too. Anyway, I mean the crown looks silly, and the chair looks silly, and the scepter looks silly.
I think
a
it
little
was-
more serious.
I think it was brought back to kind of test and do something with the network to kind of King of the Ring. We also have King of the Ring on the network, because everybody's doing the free month thing. Like I've been hooked on the network from the Survivor Series when Sting came back. I've been subscribed to the network, and I used the free month to get that, and that's what drew me in. And $10 is $10. It's still one of the best values in wrestling.
Yeah,
But,
I subscribe to the network as well, and that has been a really good investment. Even though I said I wasn't going to get the network, I ended up getting the network
Yeah,
as a
the
Christmas
shows-
present.
The shows are good.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
shows are good.
I wish they would do more of the countdown shows, but I understand that it's pretty hard to produce so much
Yeah.
and to have things on weekly. But I know New Japan is also having a streaming service that's out already,
Yeah.
and I know JR is going to be doing some commentary on that. So I don't know if he's going to be doing only the new stuff or he's going to dub over some of the old matches, but I'm interested in hearing that because I love JR on the color booth, but Yeah.
That's another person that I'm kind of not a big fan of is JR.
Oh, jeez.
Christ.
You and I am very
man.
impatient.
I just prefer guys like Mario, and actually my favorite announcer is the New Japan guy. I forget his name. He's a really good announcer, even though you can't understand what he's saying because he's so
Yoshi?
excited about it. Yeah.
Yoshitatsu, amazing.
No, not Toshitatsu, the main New Japan
Yoshi
announcer.
just never talks. I was about to say.
So anyway, let's get our final thoughts in on this and wrap up this Fastlane show. Let's start off with Connor. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Let's see. I think that I don't see many ways that they can save. Now I know we all said this going into WrestleMania 31, but really going into WrestleMania 32, there are just too many things that are going to prevent them from making this a very good WrestleMania. I think it will be one of the biggest disappointments that the company has ever put on. Now, I say that with a grain of salt. There are a couple things they could do in the weeks ahead to make it more interesting. They could. The New Day is already doing good work in their feud with League of Nations by putting out those online videos. They could do some stuff to heat that up. If they want to make the women's match interesting, they could turn it into a triple threat as opposed to just a straight-up match that kills one of the NXT women's heat. I don't know what they're going to do with the US and IC titles, but again, they can make those great. They haven't booked them yet. I'm worried that Roman Reigns versus Triple H at this point was just a massive miscalculation and misstep by Vince McMahon
And everybody
the
else
company.
involved.
Yeah, no, I just think it's too soon. Again, they thought it wasn't too soon because he got that big cheer after winning the belt on Raw, and he got the big cheer in Philly. And I get it, but the thing is, right after he got that big cheer, they squandered all of that momentum by immediately booking him like he was the greatest thing in the world. And no, you have to let him get built up gradually. He was getting big cheers because everybody was like, oh, well, finally, they turned him into just a guy who destroys people, and that's what we've wanted. But then they just squandered all that by having him go back to like the goofy guy that we're going to attempt to make talk, and he's just indestructible like John Cena. And so that's my fear, is that they just don't understand what the fans want out of Reigns' character. Again, I love Roman Reigns. I don't love the way they've booked him. And I'm worried that they are, because I don't see them, I'd love it if they did let Triple H win, because I think the storyline I outlined where Reigns turns heel is what's best for business. I don't see them doing it. Instead, I see them, letting Reigns win and the fans just booing him out of the building. And that's going to be the worst thing.
Okay, that happens. It happens. Kevin, your final thoughts?
I'm giving it a clean slate. Given what happened with Shane McMahon, I'm assuming that Dave Press reset on all plans for WrestleMania. So going into this Raw, I'm really going to use that to gauge on what's going on. But so far, I see a very predictable WrestleMania, and which was what we all said last year. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that that they're going to pull something. They have to. Everything is kind of riding on this, and it sucks that the actual Dallas Cowboys injury bad luck has rubbed off on their roster, but I think it can be done. You have guys that could go. You have Dean Ambrose. I'm sorry. You have Kevin Owens. You got some pieces. And you just gotta. There's gonna be a couple of multi-man matches. I think the Andre the Giant thing is probably gonna be the pre-show. They said they're gonna have 2 Divas matches. Make one of them a multi-man match. Give them the one-on-one match for the strap. Make the U.S. title mean something. I think the U.S. title match is going to be a multi-guy match. They should probably maybe a ladder match or some kind of gimmick match, I feel, because, that's what needs to be done. As far as the tag team straps, they don't mean anything right now because there's no teams up for grabs. So, I think they're going to do, I think the Dudleys, they're doing this no tables thing. So I think they're going to do another ladder match, a one-off, ladder match type of thing. And I don't know if they're going to get a third guy, if it's going to be a 3-on-3 type of thing, but I have a feeling that that's going to happen. They're going to team up with some guy, I don't know who, probably some new guy or whatever. Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar is going to go over in that. Probably get the Stone Cold. He put up a good fight. Maybe he passes out to the Kimura lock or something. You know what I mean? He's probably gonna get that.
Yeah. That's a possibility there.
Roman Reigns probably gets his coronation in Dallas probably, but I'd love to see Triple H go over just because, just the reaction. It'll be the opposite of the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 pops. I think people might share the game, but they really. Mm-hmm. I think everybody is going in knowing that Triple H is going to lose. Just like I think it's kind of like with the Sting thing. Is like, yeah, maybe Sting might win, but then Triple H wins. It's like, oh yeah, of course, the Triple H is going to win. Like I think it should be like that.
That's a possibility there.
I think everything is going to build into the next night on Raw, which is
gonna be the big one.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy debuts. People are going to drop belts. I think that's going to happen. I think Triple H is going to win it. Somebody who's going to come in tomorrow and he's going to drop the belt to that guy, and Roman Reigns or whoever is just going to be next in line to fight that guy.
Cool. Martin, your final thoughts?
For me, WrestleMania is like a 2-match thing that I'm looking forward to. Would be Trips and Reigns and Ambrose and Lesnar. I think storyline-wise, everything's been set up so that Reigns will finally win the title at Mania. But if he doesn't, it'd be interesting to see if Shane beats Taker and takes control of Raw. The dynamic between Shane and Trips and Steph would be interesting if he's the world champ. And I think the fact that Ambrose and Lesnar is a street fight means Ambrose could, in theory, win, and Lesnar wouldn't look bad if it was, done properly. But yeah, I think the whole Hitman Austin sort of scenario is probably what they're going to do. and Ambrose would still look great if Lesnar's allowed to beat the fuck out of him, with weapons as well. It makes him look even better.
Yeah, that's a possibility. So, Roy, your final thoughts?
My thought is that this WrestleMania is going to basically feel like an average show. I'm not excited for anything except Ambrose and Lesnar. And basically how I feel about this WrestleMania is that there's going to be a lot of good matches, but I don't actually care about anything that's going on. It's not, oh, this is the biggest WrestleMania of all time. It's, oh, this is just
WrestleMania. Yeah.
I think that actually the night after on Raw is going to feel more important.
It is, and I feel so too.
I think possibly that's going to happen, and that's the way that they're probably going to go. Is the Raw after WrestleMania is going to be the big show. As far as WrestleMania goes, for me, I'm interested in the main event match because that's when Roman Reigns will probably turn face in my eyes, and I'm looking forward to the Dean Ambrose-Brock Lesnar match, mainly because I want to see Brock Lesnar just destroy Ambrose with anything ranging from a whale to a meteorite. I'm interested to see what they do with Brie Bella because this is probably going to be her final WrestleMania before she goes into what do you call it?
Go for the sunset.
Yeah,
I
goes
think
into
she
baby
should
mode.
just fade off TV to never be seen again.
Yeah.
She's a
Until-
wonderful human being, but not a great
I think they should just stick to doing the Total Divas thing. Even though I don't watch the show, I think it's a good look for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of the divas that can't really perform in the ring, like I think that's a good outlet for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea, And then you have you'll have the triple threat match with Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha, and we'll see what happens there. It's a big mystery, and that's actually something I'm really looking forward to with Mania, is that you don't know what's going to happen in this show. You have no idea where they're going to go with this. Are they going to do the right things? Are they going to do the wrong things? And over the last hour and almost 30 minutes here, we've come up with a lot of great ideas on this show and to see where they could go with this. And that's the great thing about these wonderful fan-supported podcasts, is that we can showcase our ideas and see where they're going to go with this. Where's the magic 8-ball? Where's the tea leaves telling us as to whether or not this Mania will go off well, or this Mania will basically end up like WrestleMania 9, and Hulk Hogan stands tall over the big good of the WWE at that point, Yokozuna. So it might just be like that, or it could be something special like WrestleMania X7 or something like that. But hey, I have no idea where this is going, and I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Me too.
Hey, if Hogan comes back at the end of WrestleMania and beats Trips, that'd be quite fun.
Yeah, right?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I think
That would be headline making. I'll give it that. WWE would be all over the news the next day.
yeah, and for all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, this has been the lightest edition of Cageside Speaks. I'm 14 Fitzpatrick, and have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you for the next show, which will be most likely Takeover Dallas, which is a show I think a lot of people are looking forward to, and then the Mania show. So, have a good day, folks.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace.
All right.
Cheers.